Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Sandbox Saturday stream. I am Alex Florez, aka Kamasazi, joined here by the lovely PandaPops. How are you doing, Panda?
What? I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Doing all right. Lucas is away for the next 3 streams, if you count this one. So we'll have people filling in for him. Thank you for volunteering, Panda.
It's alright, I volunteered as tribute. Please be kind to me, chat. It's my first time doing streams and everything.
I don't know. You messed up what I was gonna say. I was gonna say I don't know what happens on your stream, but my stream, my viewers are very nice. Usually, there will be.
I mean, mine aren't. They like to troll me a lot.
Mine might,
Yeah.
but then I just don't read the chat. I let Lucas do that.
I
do read the chat. All right.
He's lying to people. He doesn't. Never.
Well, today we are checking out the Songkran New Year event, which is being run by all this is by Studio Parapluie. You may remember they had the really fun game Maya Water Park back in Alpha Season 3. That is back. As far as I know, there's not any major changes to that. And they've also got Songkran Waterfight and Songkran Splashed, and we are checking out Songkran Waterfight, which is a single-player game here. I believe the Splashed one is a multiplayer hub.
Yes.
Doesn't read chat. No, I don't read chat. Never. I never, ever read the chat.
And that was him definitely not reading chat right there.
I don't do it. Doesn't happen. All right. Please don't feed trolls. Ignore them. I guess. Well, I can be a little trolly sometimes.
I mean, I think we all can be a little bit. Wouldn't be any fun if we didn't.
Right.
Just a little.
And today, I talked to Studio Parapluie, and they actually want to give away this double tank water gun, which is pretty spiffy. This is a chest equipment, so you wear it like a backpack, and you can run around splashing people. This actually reminds me a lot of the flood machine from Super Mario Sunshine, which is, I think, actually my least played Super Mario game. Not for any particular reason other than the fact that I never had a GameCube. Yeah, so we're gonna give that away a bit later. I want to pick up one. They're not on sale yet, so I don't know when this will be available to the general public. But I'm hoping to grab one because I like me some equipment.
Should we drop that form real nice and early right now, or should we make
Yeah, sure, why not? We'll start it early. We'll leave it up for, I don't know, 15 minutes or so.
Yeah.
There we go. All right, so let's check out this experience here. It says, welcome to the water fight, Kamisazi. The water fight? I ask inquisitively. Do you know how to play it correctly? What? Alright, since you're a new traveler who might not be familiar with the tradition much, I'll teach you. The rules are simple. Even if you are just playing for the first time, all you have to do is aim and spray water on people. Those are the rules from every water fight that I've ever been in.
Aim and spray?
With the water gun, yes.
Yeah. No, well, yeah. I mean, I felt like that was implied. I don't know where anybody else's mind went to, but I felt like that was implied.
The escape room artist asks, hey, Alex, did you know you cannot swim through multi-spawned water blocks? I did not know that. I don't use the multi-block spawn very often. It is a very useful tool, but that is good to know.
Yeah.
Now, you can always... well, I'm not in 0.8 right now, but I believe the report is still under options in 0.8. So you can always submit bug reports there and help alert our development team to stuff that maybe got missed.
Yeah, I can't speak for the Game Maker, but I do know, at least with VoxEdit, the feedback form is checked very regularly, so I would like to hope that the Game Maker one is as well. So, yeah, fill out that book report.
Because it did work in 0.7. How did it work in 0.7?
We didn't have swimming.
We didn't have swimming in 0.7.
Unless you're saying that you can't even get inside of them as if they're...
Oh, are they solid?
Blocks. Yeah, that's the word. Solid, not hard.
Or maybe they just mean the...
Instant death. Those are bad blocks.
Interesting. So... I'll have to check that out later. That's interesting. Are you sure that you don't have them set for like a high damage rate on whatever that kind of block is in your that water in multi is death? Weird. Okay. Well, we'll have to check that out later. All right. Mysterious Narrator says, now select your tuk-tuk and start traveling towards the water people, so you can start spraying water and having fun. Okay. Let's see. Do we want Move Me or Tuk Tuk? What do we say, chat? What do we say, Panda? We'll let Panda pick.
Real? Oh, okay. Then move Me one, because it's got a cute little guy on it.
All right. Let's test your water gun. You can simply spray water on the main target to complete the level, but where's the fun in that? Go ahead and spray water on every target to maximize your score. Okay. Now you can
play this too and see if I can beat your score.
I don't know what my score is yet. We'll see. Now you can move around using WASD and the water gun will follow you. All you have to do is aim and spray water at the targets to score points. Let's give it a try. Oh, I see. Now listen, you must travel in 3 different zones: Cowson Road, Floating Market, and Waterfight Verse. Along the way, use your water gun to spray water and bring happiness to everyone you pass. If you can score 320 points, you will receive a special reward. Good luck and aim carefully. What's happening with the council? Asks Marco Galvano. Lots, especially over the month of May. We have got so much stuff going on.
Do you have any beans for the people? Are there beans that you can tell the people?
We are, I want to say, less than a week away from reaching out to development studios who might want to partner with us. So if you are a Sandbox creator and you feel like you need QA, the kind of stuff that we do here on stream, except a lot more in-depth with actual reports and numbers and feedback, and the same exact stuff that we do for the Sandbox officially. We are going to be opening up for accepting work and partners. More information on that to follow. Make sure you're following at the Council Tech on Twitter.
Should I go find that Twitter account to link people?
Sure, you can.
Yeah, let's chill.
So we're gonna have a whole thing set up for that. We've got a Discord in the works where people will be able to order testing, make requests with tickets, and we'll give feedback and reports through that whole Discord. It's not like a community hangout space kind of Discord. It's like a work Discord. So if you want to get real work done, that's what this space is for. We are also hard at work at making the Wizzy 10K project happen. More beans on that soon-ish.
Soon TM?
Soon TM. Very soon TM. When the Council Tech official stream. So it's not the tech part is just our URL. So instead of .com, it's .tech. So it's just the Council. The Council was already taken on Twitter. Of course, it's not like the most original name. But yeah, you don't have to say the tech part. The GMAE show is technically sponsored by the Council, and so is Half Dork Stream. So, you could say that those are official streams in a way. We don't really have the council Twitch or YouTube official set up yet, so that could happen. We've got a lot of other stuff going on, so for now you can just check out the people that you know are in the council, which is me, Joe, Conrad, Panda.
Me? Oh yeah.
Yeah, you did too.
Yeah, no, I recall. Yeah, I do work and stuff.
Sometimes, a little bit. What else is there? Julia, but Julia's kind of like incognito on socials. Oh yeah, Halftorque. I mean, I already said his name, but I knew I was missing somebody. And Seb released some teaser for Snoopers, but is it happening this year? I can't give away dates that are not officially announced. That's we do lots of beans on this stream, but we don't give dates that are not publicly available on Twitter or the website.
Plus, also dates that aren't publicly announced that we know about are tentative dates. So
Right.
These are always subject to change, which is why we never spill beans on dates.
Right. Yeah, we're not allowed to. So
No.
we like our jobs. All right.
We do.
So we got to get over 320 points. Oh. Aha. Oh, we got like a level select. Portal to Waterfight concert. Ooh. All right, well, we're going to go in order here. Oh, and we did... Oh, that's our total score up there. So we got 4 points for getting all these ones here, I think. All right. Khao-San Road. Get ready to hit the lively streets of Khao-San Road. I hope I'm saying that right. This vibrant area is known for its bustling nightlife and colorful markets. Navigate through the crowds and spray water on everyone you meet to bring joy and score points. Good luck and have fun. You gotta... Oh, they shout out for joy when you spray them. That's cute.
Yeah, because, being sprayed with water always brings people joy.
I mean, I imagine it's, like, hot. I like how the road is moving, like, faster for, like, an illusion of more speed. It reminds me of, like, Disney World rides. It's cool. The voices also kind of make me think of Sims.
I cannot recall. Oh, yeah, the woohoos.
Yeah. We got power-ups.
Yeah, I love the addition of power-ups to this one. Good evening, guys, from Packloss, who says, a question, I'm having problems with Askers in multiplayer. Am I doing something wrong, or are they not working right? I think Askers
I would need more information, I guess. I almost missed that one.
And I don't know enough about Game Maker to be able to give you information on that.
So you do, it is very particular whether if you try mixing single player and multiplayer behaviors. So, almost missed that one. I'm
impressed if you not missed any yet.
I don't think so. I sprayed that guy like 3 times.
Oh yeah, no, you keep spraying him. Keep spraying him.
Okay.
He's like bonus ones. You can get more points.
Okay.
I say, thinking like I don't want you to beat my highest score.
I missed one.
Multiplayer Asker behavior only works for the first message. Actually, I did find this. So you remember our game jam that we did the last one, where we were meant to make like a multiplayer collect game thing, and then we just ended up making them single. Some of us made them single players, so
right.
They do the quest properly. I did find in testing, although this was before 0.8.2, but maybe it's still the same issue, which is when I had done like linked Asker behaviors to do a long conversation. It did only work for the first message. So yes, that is correct. It does apparently only work for the first message.
Okay.
Maybe
the first response, like A1.
So, not even just that. It's like if, let's say, you walk up to the character, you interact, and it's like, "Hello, would you like to enter this dungeon?" And your options are yes or "What is in this dungeon?" Then that's it. After that, it's done. It doesn't go to the next one.
It doesn't start the next question.
No.
Okay. Yeah, I would need to play around with it to see if there's like a new like expected way to do it. Because I know like things change mechanically sometimes. We've had there was like a weird oddity in zero. I don't remember if it was for all of 0.7 or just like one part of 0.7 that like a specific kind of action only worked with a toggle behavior. I think it was a specific version of 0.7. The animated decoration would only work if you used a toggle behavior on it and the toggle was set to on. It was strange. And that got fixed, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, I don't know. We'll look into it.
Yeah, and Snowy says it is apparently a known bug, so yeah. So even if people are saying this is a known bug, do make those bug reports. It's like
that helps bring more attention to it.
Yeah. If more and more of you are reporting it, then it's more likely to get seen and noticed quicker. Be like, oh wait, this is an issue.
Like straight up using like a fire hydrant.
You're doing really well.
I don't know. I play games. There's a lot going on here. It's difficult to like keep track of everything.
One time I managed to make it glitch to the point where the guy with the exclamation mark, he's meant to actually disappear after a few moments. It glitched where he didn't, and just the whole time I was just spraying him constantly and managed to get, like, afterwards, because of how bugged out it was, the score carried on going up after I completed everything.
Oh, is that the one that I'm competing against?
Sure. Yeah. It's legend says that it's still increasing to this day. I was tempted to actually leave it open and just see what happened once it got up to 999 and whether it would go to 1,000 or just tick back to 0.
All right. Do we want to go to the Waterfight verse? Get ready to blast beyond the limits of speed. Let's see how fast you can go. So there's definitely like a nuance to like turning. Like you can't just like press the direction. You actually have to like move around to the different corners.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, this level gets a little laggy.
What? Oh my goodness. There's a lot going on. I don't know how the stream's doing, but
it's a doing.
It's
it's doing.
Oh no.
You thought it was your PC, so Elcos, I would say to some extent it may be PC related. It crashed, or
Yeah.
it may be PC related. I am fortunate that I have a hefty PC that can withstand that, but it is also on their side. It is a lot of things spawning and
Yeah.
moving and a lot of stuff going on.
We did give them feedback about that, so
Yeah.
that they'll try to improve it over time. I guess my recommendation would be to not have anything else running, like having a stream running at the same time. Probably does not help. Um, my PC's pretty hefty, but it's a few years old now. Um, and if you so I don't think my GPU was having any issues. It's probably more CPU related for that kind of stuttering. Um, and I would if your you can look at your task manager and see if your GPU or your CPU is the one that's struggling more. If it's your GPU, you could try playing in windowed mode and making it a smaller resolution. That's like less pixels for it to render. But if it in this case, it's most likely just all the assets that are spawning and stuff. There's just too much going on the screen at once,
Yeah.
which I can't really do anything on a player side to help with that. So, um, you want the game to be like as fun and exciting as possible, but you also have to like make sure that there's not too many different things like spawning and revealing and too many logic things going on at the same time. Um, Otherwise, the CPU just kind of like runs out of bandwidth to make all those things happen. So,
Which is a
uh,
real good reason why we have optimization guidelines for assets as well. Just for those that are like, oh, the VoxEdit contest says I can't do more than 5,000 faces, so I'm going to do 4,989.
yeah, that's an upper limit for like your most detailed, most complicated things. You don't want to be like hitting that on a piece of equipment or a single character. Like it's
Yeah, it really should be an asset that you have in your world placed once.
hmm.
Usually something like that, where especially if it's got a bunch of nodes and a bunch of animations as well. But
Well,
yeah,
hopefully you all have a better time than me with Waterfight. I mean, I think it's a really cool concept. I would love to see it run a little smoother, and who knows how it'll work in future versions. We're always working on ways to improve the game engine. So, yeah, it's fun though. I like it.
it's,
Maybe is there a little echo on Panda's voice? Not that I can
is
hear.
there? Echo, 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 echo. I think
Uh,
that game has great replayability, mainly because you were playing it and it made me think, huh, do I want to open it
I
up
want to do
again? And
better.
yeah,
I want to be the
pretty
best.
much.
So some of you may have seen me tweeting about this. This is why I didn't do my Final Friday stream last night because I was finishing up this. I was gonna try to do this all in 1 hour, and then I got like too into it. So we've got a lot of pretty stuff going on here. I spent a lot of time tweaking the visuals. Um,
I really feel like you did an excellent job. It's
Thank you.
so creepy and I love it.
This song I made is like it's was like a background to a Kickstarter, like the background audio to a Kickstarter that I did. The
Really?
original, yeah, the title on this song was Kickstarter theme .mp3 or something like that. I think I remember which thing it was for. It was a long time ago. It was like over 8 years ago I made this song. And definitely heavily inspired by. Gosh, was it 8 years ago that Stranger Things came out?
Marco Galvano says the avatar actually looks like you.
It is.
Yeah.
It's my head. This is my avatar head. I added it to my library of things. The body is the standard stuff that's available, but I did actually
Modeled after him.
I modeled this head. Yeah, I used to use one that was already on the marketplace, but I decided I wanted my own thing. So this is actually, it's pretty not hard to do this game with a regular sword, but you can definitely do a lot more damage with the alpha equipment. So we've just got 2 quests. This was for our game jam for the council. We do a staff game jam every month.
Oh,
We
Gee
try to
Whiz
spend.
says that he can't hear the music from the game.
I don't have it turned up very loud.
That will be why. Do you know what, people? Go to the Game Maker Drafts Gallery, and it is on page 2. It's on page 2. It may have changed. But
You can also just search for hero needed.
Yeah. That too.
The music doesn't loop because I made the length of the game actually match the song. But we're running out of time, so we got no hot lava, hot lava. Eh. So yes, I have speedrun strats for my own game. There we go. Yay, we won. So we can see that there's stuff happening to the VFX. So we're doing like a little tutorial here. I didn't really plan on this, but I figured I spent all this time yesterday making this thing. I might as well show it off. Skeletons need to go away. Just go away. So I'll explain how I did a bunch of different things in here. And all in all, this took me. So if you include the 45 minutes that I lost because the game maker crashed and I hadn't saved because I was being silly, I spent about 4.5, maybe 5 hours on this total. But like I said, I lost a whole bunch of work and kind of had to start over. Oh no, I died. So you can see like it's getting a little intense in here. This is actually it's not gonna change anymore at this point because the sun's all the way up in the sky. So this is just what it's supposed to be like at the end of the game. It's supposed to get like really intense. And then we can press enter, and we can go back to the builder, and we can talk about like what's going on here. So I made this really quick map. I basically just cut a grid out for the channels of lava, and then kind of made a block grid like this across it, and then I erased all the bridges that I didn't want. So I made a couple different paths. So there's one. The true path is actually kind of long, with a couple little branches going off. But there's lots of spots where you can jump across the lava because it's a more narrow gap. And some people, at least one person asked me on Twitter, like how, and I see somebody now asking how to get the fisheye effect.
Yeah.
So I'll show you like what all these logic things are doing. So most of my game logic is right up here, because I don't know, that's where it's convenient to store all of it. So when the game first starts, we get the initial post-processing effect. And I don't know if edit logic shows more things in here or not. I don't think so. Actually, we don't need this toggle anymore. It doesn't matter. So it doesn't wait for a message. It just starts as soon as the game starts. It's a custom profile. And most of this, if we hit the preview button, we can see what it does. And you can see it's doing a kind of blurry effect in the distance. That is our depth of field. So my start distance is 50 meters, my end distance is 100 meters, and there's a 0.01 radius on the depth of field. So it's a little bit blurry, not very blurry. If you set it to 0, then there's no blur at all. It's sharp as far as you can see. So we got 0.01. Just gives it a little more ambience. And then I did some exposure and contrast adjustments because this is also combining with the weather effect that I have going on. Now for the kind of fisheye effect, for that you need the lens distortion. And right now there's no distortion on it. It's got a lens distortion of 0. And we actually go negative lens distortion by the end of the game, which is what gives the fisheye effect. So if we go, if we do a positive distortion and increase the intensity, it's like it zooms in. I think we can leave the scale at 1, actually. Yeah. So leave the scale at 1, but change the intensity to be positive, and it starts becoming like a zoom lens, but it does like a bubbled out sort of effect. So you start getting this kind of globe look to it, which is pretty intense. And then if you do a negative distortion, you can see that it starts to shrink in the middle, and that gives you more of that fisheye effect, which can be really super duper intense. So
I love it so much.
like I love playing games like this. I'm like, this is exciting, and my wife is like,
I actually added something similar to this as a part of one of my games, not for the council stuff, but I was like, I want to go, like, be transported somewhere, like, when you interact with something, and it will transport you, and it will go like that until you figure out a way to get out of that area. So it's almost as if you've been, like fever dream kind of situation.
I broke it.
How
What
did
did
you
I
break
do? Oh, lens distortion. Oh, somehow the lens distortion scale got way down. There we go. All right.
No, I like it. Play the game at that lens to source.
What, like that? Or
Yep.
Or that?
Yes. Whole thing. All like that.
Huh. Oh, there it goes. It's yeah, it's trying to do. It's like playing on a little teeny tiny screen.
Oh gosh. Oh. Oh.
How you doing there, Panda?
Oh, it's trippy. I love it so much.
I was like, you're the one who asked me to do this.
Yeah, no. I love and hate it so much. It's so trippy.
So yeah, some of these values you can set to something that's like way past what would be reasonable to play at.
Oh my gosh.
You gotta ignore all the stuff on the sides and just focus on the little screen in the middle. And at first it's like the size of a postage stamp. It's like really super tiny. So yeah, it's not so bad.
No, it's okay now. I don't know whether my eyes just got used to it.
Well, it got bigger. It's been getting bigger this whole time. So.
Oh, has it really? How did you do that?
Well, it's still changing. Like if you look at the chat on the side, and you can see the edge. Like, oh, sorry, I ended it accidentally. So, anyway, all right. This is a bug that happens when I'm messing around with the color stuff. Is that the post-processing effects stick around after I start playing the game? So you just have to select one of the post-processing items, which can be difficult because they're distorted right now. But if you get them in the center of your screen, you can usually get them pretty accurately, and then just hit restore, and it pops it back to normal. So
Riri P said, maybe a warning for epileptic people. So if you've got epilepsy,
yes.
please don't watch this at the moment.
Right.
Just
yeah.
listen to our
we're
voices.
messing around with visual styles as well as uh I mean, honestly, like epileptic warning should be on pretty much all video games, unless except maybe like some visual novels. Um, so I would always go into any sandbox stream with that being a possibility, because the cameras do move around a lot. People are playing games with neons and flashing stuff. So, um,
Yeah.
if it's streaming on the Sandbox channel, I would say always an epileptic warning. But yeah, stuff like this specifically with high distortion and high contrast special effects, yeah, probably need an epilepsy warning. I can't say that every 30 seconds though, um, and it also is kind of weird to put it on the title. But maybe we should. I don't know. We could put it a tag maybe. I'm not sure how to do that while we're live though. Um, the form for the water gun, it might be closed now. I'm not sure.
It has
Okay.
closed. I did keep it open for I think we first said 15 minutes, and I'm pretty sure I kept it open for about 25,
Okay.
30. So
All right.
I've recently just closed it, and I'm
Okay.
going through them now.
Um. Yeah, to go back over what we're doing for the post processing effects. It's not waiting for a message. Um, I did just some minor adjustments to contrast. If you grab this bar on the left side of the attributes panel here, you can pull it out and you can see the whole name. So like these values, they just say color adjustment, and it's like, well, what does that mean? Like, what do these numbers mean? If you pull it out, then you can see what they're doing: exposure, contrast, hue shift, saturation. Um, there's a bit of depth of field going on, a little bit of grain, um, and that's pretty much it for the start. Then we've got our weather effects. So we're starting with this nice deep sunrise going on here. You can see the moon about to disappear there. Um, and one thing that is important, this is a bug that I found when playtesting, and I was like, what the heck? Uh, I had the time set to 0.25. So if you take a look at the times, 0 is like midnight, and it's with the moon all the way up in the sky. Um, 0.25 for the time is sunrise with like wait, oh, I didn't hit preview. There we go. The sun is halfway up and the moon is halfway down. Um, 0.5 is noon with the sun all the way up in the sky and no moon to be seen. 0.75 is the moon about to rise and the sun about to set. And 1 is the same as 0 with the moon being high in the sky. So those are how the times are defined. It goes from midnight to midnight, noon being 0.5. So I had it set to 0.25 at the start, and I was like, oh, that looks cool with like the moon back there and the sun up there. But the problem is that I think I had it set to 0.24 actually. Oh no, 0.25 would have also done it. So the problem is that you'll see that the light is casting on this side of the blocks, and the shadows are on this side, because the moon is still the primary light source in this scene. And as soon as we go to 0.26, we see that the light shifts to the other side. It flips the time of day. So now the moon is no longer the primary light source and the sun is, which is all fine. But if you start at 0.25 and then you use a message to change the time, to change the weather, and also adjust the time, as the sun rises, the shadows were still being cast from the wrong side. So if I start the game right now, oh, what?
I don't
What
know.
happened
I'll
there?
laugh in like 7 seconds when it catches up.
There we go. So pick up our equipment. was he caused to us. And so, what? Why is it doing that now? I'm actually gonna exit the save because I think I poked too many settings and now it's confused, or I'm confused. I changed something that I wasn't supposed to change. So we're just gonna load back in. But basically, what ended up happening was as the sun was rising in the east, the shadows were stretching out towards the sun, which is not the way shadows work.
That was a fun conversation I had with my kid the other day. He kept asking over and over again why he has a shadow and
How old is he?
He's 5.
Okay.
And why is his shadow like moving along with him? And so I'm explaining, like, your body is blocking the sun, that's what's causing the shadow, so of course it's going to move with you because it's connected to you, because it's from your body.
Right.
And yeah, his little tiny mind just seemed to be so blown by it.
At least he wasn't one of the kids that is like scared of their shadow. They see when they think their shadow's chasing them. I've seen videos of kids that are like screaming and like running away from their shadow, which is not effective.
No, so funny that you say that. So no, he has never done that, but he did something so much better. The past 2 days, he's done 2 things that are almost on par with each other, which was he had recently been to the beach with my parents, so they collect like fossils, shells, and sea glass. And so we were in the garden and I came back inside and he comes like happily in going like, look, I found a shell. And I look at it and I was like, mate, that's a snail. And he screams and throws it on the floor.
Oh no.
Like in utter horror that he had picked up a snail. Then fast forward to today, once again, we were doing gardening and I'd found a couple of ladybirds and he was happily watching them and I was picking some of them up and taking them over to my strawberries because they've got a few aphids and ladybirds love aphids.
Yeah.
It's a really good way to get rid of them. So I was like, let's put a couple over here and hopefully they'll have a nice little snack and the strawberries will grow real nice. And he found a ladybird and he was trying to get it on a leaf. And he got it on a leaf, and he was like walking around happily showing me, and this poor little ladybird dared to crawl off of the leaf onto his finger, to which he threw the leaf and screamed as if he was being murdered.
Oh man. The church I grew up going to used to get so many ladybugs in the spring and summer. And well, we liked them. Like we knew that like they wouldn't bite, they're good for gardens. And so we would like corral them. We would just be like we'd try to get them to climb up on our hands and we'd see which way they were walking. We'd be like, okay, climb up, no, don't go that way, go climb up my finger. So yeah, that's what I grew up with ladybugs. But then like come fall and winter they like start all dying, so then there's just a little like dozens of little ladybug husks everywhere, which you know, it's the circle of life. But
I've never really experienced that tragedy of ladybirds. Like I see them alive, I don't ever see them dead. Now I'm really sad.
Thank you, escape room artist. I will check that out later.
Yeah.
All right. So if you notice that the sun kept rising in that video and the shadows were adjusting correctly, but the bug that I encountered was if I set this to 0.25 and I hit play, and we get a little warm up time in here, simply because, well, the message, like, if I set the message to fire at the start of the game, then it sometimes the asker wouldn't trigger because it was before the game had actually started. So we see that the sun is rising over there, but the light is still on the wrong side, and you can actually see my shadow here getting shorter as it thinks the sun is rising in the west. But it's really rising in, well, actually, which the sun rises. The sun does rise in the west, technically, if you look at the map. That's kind of funny. Never thought about that before. Rises in the southwest corner.
Oh, that
The
is odd.
sandbox is not Earth, you know.
Yeah.
We got our
No,
own uniqueness here.
yeah. I mean, yeah, it makes sense. Got to differentiate it from Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so let's set this back to 0.26. So what I've got going on here, I've just got a bunch of different things going on with the color. I wanted to create a real moody look, so I went with this very, very dark orange, almost totally gray for the top of the sky. The middle of the sky is this dark, dull pink. Sky bottom is this dark green. So this just gives us like a hazy, almost like apocalyptic kind of sky. Light color is this brighter peachy pink, um, and but it's still pretty dim, and that just gives us this cast of light. Light intensity is pretty low. Fog density is as high as it goes. Fog power could be stronger, I guess. I don't know how. Oh yeah, that does make a difference, but I didn't want it to be that dull. And sun color is more red than you'd expect, but because it's so bright, it actually like goes past red right to like yellow. So with when you're dealing with calculations for like light in graphics engines, the exposure intensity on something like this, if I was to actually make this yellow, it would probably, yeah, it changes the whole cast of the sky. If you want it to be like really, really red, you actually have to darken it a good bit. It's still kind of pink because of the other colors we got going on. Anyway, we're gonna undo all that. Oh, we're gonna try to undo it. Whatever. We got a pink sun now.
I mean, I like it. I'm here for the like that. That's a really nice pink as well. Like pink isn't my favorite color, but that's a good pink. I wouldn't wear it, but it's nice for the eyes to look at.
There we go. It's a little different now. All right. What else we got going on? Sun size is really big. I want it to be like a really dominant feature of the sky. Shadow intensity is all the way up. We already talked about the time. Sky influence. This will actually affect the coloring of your environment. So if we did sky influence way down, you see things are more based on like your general light color from the sun and stuff. But doing the sky influence actually kind of makes it a little more dynamic according to what your environment color is. Cloud density, I turned it down. I didn't want the clouds to be too distracting. And then cloud shadow color, we've got kind of a gray, very burnt orange for the middle, with orange shading on the sun side and purple shading on the like environmental side. Yeah, I was kind of going for synthwave. Just something that made me think of like I don't know, Conan the Barbarian, He-Man, those kind of like 80s heroic uh you know, dark fantasy, I think is technically the genre vibe.
I didn't know that was a genre vibe.
I think that's what it's called.
But that's I like that. That's what it should be from now on if it wasn't before.
And then combining it with the post-processing effects, now we've got the blurred background. The clouds get a little out of focus, and it ups the contrast, so the brights pop a little bit more, and things are a little bit clearer. Also, this is kind of to the aside, isn't really like the overall game setup, but these ladders that I put for people to climb back up in case they fall in the lava. There's 4 of them scattered around the map. I wanted to make sure that you could see them because it's so dark down here and the lava doesn't cast a light up on the blocks that I wanted to make sure players could still locate the ladders. So I added torches, which do have a light element here. It's just a point light. I adjusted the intensity and range to make it feel like an appropriate amount of brightness for the fire that's going on the torch. And then on the actual torch asset, I added a visual effects of little fire, or fire little is technically what it's called. It enables on start. There's a little bit of an offset to make sure that the fire lines up correctly with the tip of the torch. And then I adjusted the size and speed down so that way it made more sense for the scale of the torch. And we can preview it, and it looks like that. It's a very, very torchy torch.
It's a very torchy torch. I like it.
And so the reason this one's placed right here is so that way when you first start the game, it's visible like right here at the start. And so you might not notice it when you're in here, but as soon as you walk out the door, oh, I messed with my settings too much again, and now it's doing the thing. This happens sometimes. If you squint very hard, you can see in the center of my screen this little thing going on here. We can wait till it gets a little bit bigger. There it is. You should be able to see it now. So we see the torch there. And now we got the VFX still running here. So we're gonna exit back and load again. I didn't have to do that too many times while I was playtesting. It was usually I could just reset the ambience. Actually, I think that bug with the gameplay happens more often if I'm previewing the post processing and weather before I start the game. It's almost like it's confused. It's like I'm already here, and now you're asking me to change it to these values, so I'm gonna double up on it or something. Not Jackie Chan says the ladder mechanics in the sandbox are way better than they are in most games. Usually end up dying at every ladder I come across in most games, usually from it bugging out or something. Well, that's good to hear. Yeah, and ladders are really easy to set up. The thing to watch out for with ladders is if you've got too detailed of an object with like kind of crazy collision stuff going on. Like we saw that in, I don't think this game was actually ever released. It might have been in Alpha Season 1. It was, no, the Oracle's Temple. I can't remember what the actual, like the Hidden Village or something like that. At one point it had like vines that you could climb up, but it had a whole bunch of like unique little leaves sticking out. And if they put the ladder on the actual vine asset, the collision was a little too wild and you would get stuck and fall. So sometimes it's helpful if you've got a detailed object with unique collision to have that not actually have the ladder element and then put an invisible ladder element on it. So in the case of vines, I would make them with no collision and then put an invisible board with the actual climbable aspect, so that way you can climb smoothly, like so. And then taunt the skeletons.
Have done the winner draw for that backpack water splashy thingy mabob for the double tank water gun.
Right.
I'm guessing you don't need to check anything because this isn't one of the busy ones. No, so yeah. The winner is Violet SL over on YouTube. And the question asked was, what's your favorite experience you've played so far? And I did say, and why. They didn't say why, but they put Lululand. Many other people also put Lululand because it's lovely because of the secret places. A few people put Maya as well. One person put, I liked Hell's Kitchen because it's quite complicated. So there we go. Somebody liked Hell's Kitchen. And a lot of people are putting Mellowverse, and I believe Mellowverse is the game that I've been in earlier today. And that is a very pretty place, although I cannot find the first clue to recover the artwork. So if anybody in chat has done Mellowverse and wants to tell me where to go for that, then I can redo that game real quick. But yeah, so congratulations, Violet SL over on YouTube. I assume Alex will sort out the sending of or talk to the people to send that item. Yep.
Will do. So Byverson Art says there's a bug in the post-processing effect. Lens distortion is a problem. You can see it a little bit for we need the screen to split into 4 and nothing appears. So yeah, that's what we were just seeing on the screen. It's not technically that it's split in 4. It's scaled your screen down to a point in the middle, and then the edge pixels are being stretched horizontally and vertically. So everything on the side is being stretched out to the sides, everything on top is being stretched out to the top, and then the corners are being stretched vertically and horizontally all the way out. So it almost looks like a crosshair, but they'll change. Like as you rotate the camera around, you can see the colors change based on what those edge pixels are. So um, I'm pretty sure in order to get it to that point, it's actually with the vignette. Not with the uh I think it's with the vignette, not with the lens distortion, or it might be the lens distortion. I feel like a combination of these two issues has done it. But like with the scale, let's see if we go this way. So it's kind of like this, but a little bit different. So I'm not sure which values will get it, and I usually see it more as a bug than anything else. But there does seem to be some specific values that cause it. Afterwork says it's both a bug and a feature. Yeah.
Zolna Blake said the assets we claim from Ledger are not showing in the inventory on the TSB website. This may be just a visual bug. It depends when you claimed them as well. If you claimed them all of like 5 minutes ago, you do need to wait a little while to double check that they're there from your claims. Your best bet is to go to OpenSea and open up your MetaMask in OpenSea and they show much faster in OpenSea than they do actually on your inventory in the Sandbox website. But if you've claimed them, they will appear. It could be a visual bug if you've been waiting longer than 15 to 20 minutes.
Make sure you're looking at your inventory and not your workspace also, because if you're a creator and you've been using the workspace a lot, you might be tempted to go there by default, but workspace is specifically assets that you're uploading, and inventory is specifically assets that you own, whether you minted them or you bought them or you claimed them. So just make sure that you notice that distinction, that you're not looking for assets that you claimed in the workspace. So Byverson Art, yeah, I wasn't able to get the exact effect that we were talking about, but I think I had it earlier, but it was only when I launched the game, and it was yeah, I'm not sure. It's not consistent, I don't feel, but it usually seems like if I'm previewing the post processing when I start the game, it seems like that's when it has an issue. So those are our starting values for post processing and for weather. We also start the music track, which the streaming upload is only available to some staff right now. I just wanted to give it a try. We are working on a whole platform for creators to be able to upload their own content to that. Then we've got this timed event that starts. So I wanted two things to happen. I wanted the game to start when the player opens the gate, so that way they could have time to change their inventory before starting the quest. And then I wanted there to be a fail case for the quest. So typically, when we have the rules for a uh, a timed event, um, we can start the timer, and then at the end of the timer, either you accomplish the goal, in which case you win the quest, or you failed the goal and the quest uh, just stops. But there's no send message on fail for timed quests. So if you fail the quest just goes away. Um, which means that it's a little more complicated to make you lose the game uh, with with a timed quest. You can just miss a specific objective. So what I did is I've got a timed event that starts, and it's the same length as the quest. Um, well, it's actually a couple seconds longer because the timer on the quest starts after the banner shows. So it goes like, you started this quest, and it shows the graphic, and then the timer starts. So I added a few extra seconds to the fail event, um, so that way it would account for those few seconds when it's displaying the banner. So what we've got here is a multiplayer door, and there is a reason I used multiplayer instead of single player. Um, so when you interact with this door, it sends a message of where is it? Start. It just sends a start message when you open it. We do toggle it on after a little warm up. So, like I mentioned before, that ask at the beginning where Wizzy calls to you and says, "Hey, come help me out with the dragon." Um, that asker was sometimes not firing at the start of the game, and I think it's because the message for the asker was happening before the player had really started the game. So we have two timers here. We have a multiplayer timer and a single player timer, and they're both set for 5 seconds. So after those 5 seconds are up at the very start of the game, then it fires the asker and it unlocks this door. So it forces you to wait until you get Wizzy's message, um, and it means that everything starts in the game at the same time. Banner time is 3 to 4 seconds. It is indeed. I set it to 5 seconds uh, in the or sorry, 6 seconds actually for this event end. So it gives you like a 2 second buffer. Um, the quest is 144 seconds or 2 minutes and 24 seconds. Yes. Uh, and I set this lose event for 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So I gave an extra 6 seconds to just make up for that banner time, and give a chance for the players to see that they failed the quest. They could also clutch it in that last second. They could somehow win at just the right moment. So it gives a little bit of forgiveness on that time. Um, so that's all that this message is doing. When you open the multiplayer gate, it starts the multiplayer timed event, which sends a lose message at the end of 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Now, this is all still multiplayer messaging, even though it's a single player game. The reason we're using multiplayer is that these multiplayer post processing, multiplayer weather things, the only real way to transition these is with the multiplayer argument messages. So I found that these weren't working well when I tried mixing single player and multiplayer. So it kind of forced me to use multiplayer, and I actually got everything working the way I wanted it to. So, um, yay. Like it ended up making it more complicated than I expected it to be, but I think it worked out okay in the long run. Um so this multiplayer message from the door also starts the quest, which means that in order to finish the quest, help Wizzy also requires this victory message to come from a multiplayer asset. We'll get back to that. Keep that in mind. um
I'm learning so
so
much right now.
I learned a lot. This was like 4.5 hours of just learning for me. When I made this game. Like I made like the bones of it, like all these structures and stuff in like I don't know 30 minutes, 45 minutes. Panda was there for that part of me making it. And I just kind of slapped it together and it's like yeah, whatever, but then all this part was just like I just had to go through it and test it and figure out what worked and what didn't work. Um so the multiplayer start message starts this timed event. Um and oh yeah, it toggles off with the same victory message that we beat the quest with. We also turn off this timer. That way, if a player doesn't, if the player beats the dragon but doesn't confirm the quest message, they don't still lose because they did win. They just didn't. They didn't hit enter to confirm. Um, so the I clicked the wrong thing. There we go. This start message also goes to the weather fade, which is a multiplayer message broadcaster. So start is the message required, and then it sends the message weather fade, which is an argument, and we set the time to 144, which means that this argument lasts the same length of time as our quest. So 144 seconds. And the weather fade message goes to our post processing effect and our weather um, objects here. Now, the arguments they don't have to be dedicated to um, specific behaviors. So, like the weather fade argument, I can still use on the post process effect. It doesn't have to be for a weather logic. I'm not sure if that's intentional, but that's the way it's currently working. It's kind of like we have like dedicated slots for these values. So weather fade, post processing fade, um, and some other things are basically interchangeable for now. You can use those messages in whichever. Um, and this way, I could kind of do two birds with one stone by having the same message with the same amount of time changing the values for both of these. So I wanted the weather to get more intense towards the end of the game. So uh, we go to this post process. Actually, I'm going to do the weather first because it's the post processing is too intense without the weather. Um, so the weather goes
Oh
to
gosh.
this. The weather goes to this. The sky colors are still the same. I basically just changed the time of day. So it goes to high noon. And I think that's the only change in the weather. And then if we add the post processing effect, it becomes this, which you can see is gets the fisheye negative distortion, negative lens distortion. I used to have a vignette, but I was having issues with that not working or like displaying correctly, so I just left the vignette off. I wanted to kind of get dark around the edges. Um, I also turned off motion blur. I had motion blur in there originally, but it became kind of ugly. Um,
Hey, can we see it with motion blur?
I mean, yeah, it's just like in gameplay, it, like was not as much fun. So
Yeah.
it's kind of difficult to see, but it is there. Right,
Yeah, a little bit.
right, yeah. Um, chromatic aberration goes all the way up. That's what's on the edges here. You see like you see how the color splits on the donut behind the chat here. So I upped the chromatic aberration all the way. Grain intensity went all the way up. Depth of field became more intense. Um, there's some more color adjustment going on to make it all kind of look faded and washed out. I increased the bloom, which is the brightness around stuff. So if we like lower the bloom intensity, you see that's what the sun looks like. Uh, so we just crank that bloom intensity up really super high, and then anything that's like bright has more of a glow around it. Um,
Oh wow.
Um, that's most of the changes. So I like fiddled around with it and kept hitting preview until I like thought it looked intense enough. And yeah, it gets pretty wild. Um, I like that the blues still like pierce through everything. I think those look pretty cool in there. Um, all right. So that all changes over the course of the game. So as soon as you start the quest, it also starts the transition for the visual effects and the weather. Um, and that way, as the timer gets close to running out, you're at that like most intense visual style, like the stress of needing to like complete the game. What's this? This is the ask her at the start of the game. So that message that we see at the very beginning of the game, that's what the single player timer sets off. Um, this probably could have been a multiplayer asker because there's no conversation after it, but I felt it just worked more consistently with single player. And if I wanted to do anything else with it afterwards, I'd probably want it to be single player. So that's how I left it. So single player timed event of 5 seconds starts that off, and multiplayer timed event of 5 seconds unlocks the multiplayer gate, which then lets us use all of these other logic donuts here to change the weather and stuff like that. All right, what else we got going on in here? So we've got our skeletons. These were a lot of fun to set up, actually. So I really like how Dungeon of Dummies has the skeletons that you hit them and their armor breaks off. Um, I originally had them with the you had to stun them; they could block, and you had to stun them to knock the armor off. But I felt that slowed down the game too much and made it just not as much fun to have to use the power attack. So I just set them up with a certain amount of health. And then these are presets also. So I have a preset for both the armored skeleton and the naked skeleton. Um,
Naked skeleton.
and I did tweak the health values so that way it felt more natural to play. So these guys are at 25% or at 25 health instead of their default 50. When they die, they have a preset to drop the naked skeleton preset, which is more complicated than the original skeleton. It's got different things going on here. So you'll notice that I placed this on the ground. The way I accomplished that is actually by having this hidden tile under the ground, because if I didn't have the tile, the skeleton was actually spawning midway into the ground, because for whatever reason, preset drops center on the object. Um, yeah, it looked weird having them spawn with their body halfway in the ground. So I probably they also I would need to adjust this. They spawn too far back. Um, I probably need to actually move this tile over like that, so that way the skeletons are properly centered. Because right now, when you kill this skeleton, you can kind of see that the the skeleton that spawns in its place is like not standing in the same spot. So I hit them a few times, and yeah, you see it spawns further back. Um, so I could adjust that by moving the tile. Whoop, come on. We could actually fix that right now, pretty easily. So if I select the tile that's hidden underground here somewhere, where'd it go?
Oh, not Chan said that skeleton has no pants. Not safe for work warning. We got all the warnings for stream today.
All right, so basically we just want this skeleton to be at the center of all the origins. So what you could do, um, which would probably be easier than all of this, is to actually center the skeleton in like a box that has no collision and is totally transparent, and to like define this is the spawn area, and then put all the things that you wanted to spawn in there. And then we select all of these, and we update the preset, and now whenever we kill these guys, it'll spawn this way. So this tile is just simply to offset the center position, so that way they spawn as close to the correct spot as possible. Then we spawn in this helmet, gloves, and sword, which just have collision and gravity, but no, they're not for you to pick up. They're just decorations. So like you hit the skeleton, he drops all of his stuff. So visually, that's what I wanted to convey. And then this skeleton actually drops the human bones asset. Which is this little pile of bones that is deciding not to show its thumbnail right now for some reason. There it is. So after you kill the skeleton, it also drops these. So you get nice little piles of junk everywhere as you beat all these things. So that was the whole process for the skeletons. There is a skeletons quest. I wanted to make sure to slow the player down a little bit, because it doesn't take very long to get from one corner of the map to the other, especially if you jump over the gaps. Like this gap here is short enough to just jump across. This one's a little bit too long, but there's a bridge here. So to slow players down a little bit and kind of force them to engage with the game mechanics, this gate only opens after killing 10 skeletons, which is a single player quest. It just activates at the start of the game. Actually, this is a multiplayer quest. Interesting. I don't know why that works.
Don't question it. Just go with it.
Well, okay, maybe. So it might not work if I start. So this starts with a multiplayer message, but it's doing a death counter for the skeletons. If I was asking it to receive a message, I don't think it would work with a single player message. So I think it just works based on the fact that it can't work any other way. So if I wanted to make the game take longer to complete, or like the minimum time to be bigger for completion, I could increase the number of skeletons. I think there's like something like 70 or so of these guys on here. So you do have to break down the armor off the skeleton and then kill the skeleton that drops after knocking the armor off. So that's the way to complete that whole quest. Then I've got checkpoints. There's 2 of them, one here and one here. These were actually kind of fun to set up. So I have the different firefly assets. So I've got orange fireflies and I've got blue fireflies.
I enjoyed the checkpoint system.
Yeah, it's 2 assets, 3 if you include spawning one or really dropping one. So we've got a speaker component. You can see that I used the new rectangular speaker sensor area. So it just senses that you've entered anywhere on this platform. And it sends a message kill to a specific tag in the range, which is Firefly. And it does that only once. And that's all this speaker component does. And then this orange Firefly. Wait, doesn't this say checkpoint? Oh, I remember how I did that part. So the name of this entity I changed to checkpoint exclamation point. So it doesn't say it's a concrete tile anymore. I actually changed the name up here. And I put a space in the text to display. So if you don't have any text in text to display, there's no speech bubble that appears. But if you just put a space in there, it will actually just show the name. So I changed the name to checkpoint exclamation point, so that way you see that it says that. But it also doesn't say checkpoint says checkpoint exclamation point. That would be kind of weird. So that's why I did it that way. So that kill message goes to the fireflies because they have the firefly tag on them. And on their death, they drop the blue fireflies with no collision and the tag checkpoint on them, which is your default respawn checkpoint for the player. So passing here kills the orange fireflies. They become blue fireflies with the checkpoint tag. So if you die anywhere on the map, you respawn at the closest checkpoint, which would either be here or here if you've gotten to those locations, or back at the start. Last checkpoint, I didn't want it to be too far away from the dragon, and you can actually jump from here to here. So if the dragon kills you, you have a very short return. So the way that you beat the game, I struggled with this for a little while because the problem I had created for myself is that because I wanted the weather changing effects, which needed the multiplayer messages, my quest, which was multiplayer, would only accept a multiplayer message, but sensing the death of the dragon is a single player mechanic and can't send a message to a multiplayer quest. So I had a little.
Almost as if they should have the exact same things for both single and multiplayer, so they don't
We're working
have
on.
this issue.
We're getting there. We're getting there. We're not there yet. It's. I think the direction we're moving in. Eventually, everything. And I can't promise this, but it feels like this is the way things have been getting developed. Is that eventually everything will be supported in multiplayer. So we'll see all of the single player mechanics become multiplayer mechanics until it's just whether you want multiplayer on or off. At least that's how I hope it's gonna work.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. So you see that I've got two little invisible tiles up here. And those are what complete the quest for me. So I basically made a conversion tool because even though you can't send messages across multiplayer and single player bridge, you can connect them by sensing them with tags. So by like moving objects with tags on them and sensing them, a single player will still sense a multiplayer behavior being near it because of the tags. So when we beat the dragon, it sends the message win, which, like I said, it is a single player. You know, the health component and predator behavior only work in single player. So this win message only works in single player. So what the win message does is it sends to this void up here, again, a single player only item or a behavior, and that deletes these blocks right here. So if you when you first go to fight the dragon, and if you look up, you'll see that there's blocks right here, but the void erases them and allows this tile, which only has a speaker component on it, but it's a multiplayer speaker component, and it has collisions plus gravity. So with the blocks gone, it's free to fall into the arena. And if we edit the logic, we can see I put a really big rectangular sensor on this. So when this thing falls, because nothing else can get up here, it's pretty much guaranteed to fall straight down. And it's a very large area. Basically, as long as the player doesn't kill the dragon from way back here and run away and never come back to Wizzy, which I would still think would be a fail. As long as the player is anywhere in this arena, this speaker component will see the player, and because it's a multiplayer speaker component, it can send the victory message to all of our multiplayer stuff that we've got going on. Halfdork says, "Great idea, thank you." So that goes to our Help Wizzy quest because, like I said, it started with a multiplayer message. For whatever reason, it only wanted to complete the quest with a multiplayer message instead of a single player message. So the victory message goes there. It says wait for input end game, which is why players have to hit the enter key in order to finish the game. Over here, the victory component will turn off the lose timer which is this one, I think. Nope. Where is it? This one. So the defeat timer is what I called it. So the defeat timer gets its behavior toggled off with a victory message, meaning that this timer stops counting down. So if the player wins and has 10 seconds left, but they haven't hit enter in those 10 seconds, they don't still get a game over. That prevents that. And the other part here with this is for if the player doesn't complete the quest in time. So, like I said earlier, the rules for a timer quest, you can, if you don't get the message needed in time before the timer ends, you do lose the quest, but there's no message sent on losing the quest. It just ends the quest. It expires. So what we do to get a game over is that this lose timer, after 2 minutes and 30 seconds, sends the multiplayer message lose, which goes to this basic platform. It's a multiplayer basic platform. It's only moving 1 meter, and it's doing it 9 meters a second, so it's pretty quick. No wait duration. And the behavior is initial state off, but it toggles on with the multiplayer lose. And it has the tag game over on it. And then this tile is a single player object. It doesn't have any behavior, but it's got the defeat component, which is only for single player. And it's on collision with anything that has the tag game over on it. So as soon as this tile touches this tile, you lose the game. So it's like kind of like a dead man switch, I guess. Not really. It's just a cool trigger mechanic. And that's the majority of the logic going on here. Oh, there was one more thing. You can't really see it too well because you're running around fighting skeletons and you only have a couple minutes. Um, but uh, if you have the time to like run up here before beating all the skeletons and you just kind of peer in, you'll notice that the dragon's actually chasing Wizzy around. You can kind of see it in the distance through the windows. And that's because as a predator, I wanted the dragon to focus on the avatar. Um, I feel like I had turned off him chasing Wizzy, or maybe I took the Wizzy tag off of Wizzy. That's what I did. So the dragon will chase the Wizzy tag and the avatar tag. And the Wizzy tag is not actually on Wizzy. It's on this tile here that's attached to him. And the tile is a single player plant that has a destroy message on it called Chase. And if you enter the space here by the door, it's a single player speaker component. It senses that the player enters in to this area, and it removes it kills the plant tile attached to Wizzy, so he no longer has the Wizzy tag. So the dragon's no longer chasing Wizzy; he's only chasing the avatar.
That's smart. I like that.
It also works the other way around. So Wizzy is set to flee. Let's see. He flees the dragon tag. But the dragon doesn't actually have a dragon tag. It has a child tile. Ooh, there it is. Which has the dragon tag, which is also destroyed when you enter the space. So when the dragon's attacking you, Wizzy isn't still running away from the dragon. He knows that the player is damaged, and he runs to the player to heal them. Yeah, tile chases tile. So 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 Wizzy always runs away from the dragon, and the dragon always chases Wizzy. But when the player enters the room, those tiles disappear, So the dragon's really only chasing the avatar, and Wizzy's only trying to heal the avatar. He's not running away. He doesn't see the dragon as a threat anymore to him. So he's just trying to heal the player. I also put these tiles all around um, the outside here with dragon tag on them, so that way Wizzy doesn't get stuck on the sides. He still sometimes gets stuck on the sides. I'm not sure the best way to change this. I think maybe if I made these two parts and one part of it was a platform sliding the tile in and out of the space, and then have the dragon tag attached to that. Um, Actually, I don't think
J-Dog
they.
is asking, is there a reason some of the wizards don't show up in Game Maker? I feel like I've seen all of my... Have I seen all of my wizards show up in Game Maker? I'm now contemplating life. They should, shouldn't they?
I've got Wizzy the blue, Wizzy the green, Wizzy the purple, Wizzy the. Okay, Wizzy the golden is missing. I feel
Golden
like
doesn't. There you go.
I
Hodgel says Golden doesn't.
I think this was a issue that we found like a couple months back, and it's been reported, but I don't think it's been fixed yet. And I feel like it had to do something with tags. There was like there's some, like, you still have it in your wallet, like it's not going away. It's just something about like what kind of asset it is excluded by a filter in here for some reason. And I'm not sure why. So I will thank you for reminding me about that. I will look into it.
Did they remove any of the... Because we used to have the ability to name avatar, like give them the avatar tag. Did they remove those ones?
Wizzy still has the avatar tag, like Wizzy the blue. I'm pretty
Oh,
sure.
okay, and he shows up. Yeah. So yeah, I think it might just be Wizzy the Golden. Seems to be the one that everybody's saying that they don't have.
Yeah.
And Zero.com said that
Oh,
they don't
Santa
have...
Wizzy's not there either. Or I might not actually have any in my wallet. I'm not sure. I
Oh
think
my
I still
gosh,
have.
have I totally just always just not noticed that my Santa Wizzy is not there for me to use in Game Maker? Now I feel ashamed. But
Shame on you.
Zero.com, it really is shame on me. Zero.com on Twitch says they don't have any net weapons, so they don't think that they'd be able to do that time in 2 minutes 30. Alex's game actually gives you weapons
Yeah, they're
on
right there.
start. Yeah.
You just got to turn around. So I originally I had the weapons more towards the front. So there's an alpha shield and an alpha sword. I'll show you. You can beat it in that time with just the default sword, easily. You just got to use some pro strats. But if you turn around, there's an alpha shield and an alpha sword, and they're not closer to the door, because if I put them closer to the door, when you pick them up, you also open the door. I originally had them right next to the door, but you'd interact with it, and then the quest would start, and you would have to equip the equipment on the timer, which was the whole point of not having the quest start at the start. um, so yeah, I think if I made these moving platforms that had them sliding in and out with that dragon tag, like I don't have to destroy them either. Like they don't have to be a plant. They could keep on kind of undulating the sides. I think it would kind of shove Wizzy around, because he's still running away from the dragon tag, so he shouldn't be hanging out around the edges at all. Um, so I have seen him get stuck, and I think it's because like the dragon chasing him might like put him into like a pocket where he's almost like trapped by the dragon tag, and he feels like he can't like run out from it. But if I have them kind of moving in and out away from the wall, it might kind of nudge him to travel to other spots. But it is kind of fun, like to like start the game and like run right to this spot like as quick as possible, and just ignore the skeletons, and then you can see him getting chased around.
So I've also noticed that weirdly enough in Game Maker, if I type in Wizzy, it shows all of mine other than Santa Wizzy and Wizzy the Golden. But
Uh-huh.
if I type Wizzy and I click owned, it then removes. Who's it remove? 1 second. So I've got it shows Wizzy Dylan Water, Wizzy Blue, Wizzy Green, Wizzy Purple. If I then click owned, it only shows me Wizzy Purple and Wizzy Dylan. I don't want to butcher the name. You know which one I'm on about.
De los
So it
Muertos.
Yes, that one. So it removes blue and green as being assets that I own, even though I've just gone and double checked and I own them. And it doesn't show my hats. It's not showing my. Oh wait, it's that's because. Yeah, no, never mind. It's because it's because it's called something different.
You sure you're holding them in the right wallet, or you're
Yep.
looking in the right account?
100%. Otherwise, they yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's weird. That's a really bizarre bug. Anybody else got that?
Maybe did you wish list them at any point?
Even if I did, they would surely they would still show. In fact, I don't think I would have done, but they would still, because I still own them. I'm switching between OpenSea and Game Maker right now. I own them in my wallet, but
I'm just wondering if maybe there's a conflict there that's like messing with the filters or something.
I don't think I wish list any whizzes, but I can have.
I don't usually leave a lot of time before after release for people to wish list before they start going out, unless they have to wait a long time to get them.
Also, before I forget, I am going to quickly mention the VoxEdit contest, which is the Care Bears VoxEdit contest. Care Bears Dare to Care for the Earth. We are extending the submission deadline. The Medium article won't show the new dates until Monday, but it's going to be open for an additional week. So the deadline is actually now going to be the 7th of May. That's the next month coming up. April, May.
Yeah.
7th of May. 11:59 p.m. UTC will be the new deadline. I know one of the reasons we're extending it is because it's a super niche theme that has had people a little bit confused. So we're extending it to hopefully give you guys some time to create and submit. And those that didn't think about doing it, you now have a week to make something. Basically, you need to create an asset that represents like caring for the earth, the environment. So make an asset that shows conservation efforts, like looking after the world. Make a Care Bear's friend, Mr. Recycle Man, or Mrs. Beach cleanup, Miss Save the Turtles. I don't know. And the Care Bear friend can be holding a bunch of sea turtles and taking plastic off of their heads. Who knows? But yeah, just something like that. You now have an additional week to create and submit. Solar panels, like just recycling, things like that. Not Mr. Recycle Man again. I will keep saying the Care Bear's friend, Mr. Recycle Man. He's great. He's a fantastic friend to the Care Bears. The bestest in the whole entire world, Care Bear world. Him and Mr. Grumpy don't get on very much. Is there a Mr. No, not Grumps a lot?
I think it's just Grumpy Bear.
Is he Grumpy Bear?
Is it? I feel like that's the blue one, right?
Yeah, Grumpy Bear. Yeah, just Grumpy Bear. Yeah, he is.
He was one of the original 5 I had to make. I was like, I think so, but he's not Mr. Grumpy Bear. He's just grumpy.
I still have one of the original Care Bear plushie toys that I'm pretty sure was secondhand when I was a child. It's a green one.
And now it's worth like
I don't know. I daren't look because like there's a part of me that's like I could make money, and then there's another part of me that just can't give things up. And
Right.
I think that stemmed from we didn't grow up with a lot of money growing up. We weren't like poor, but we used to do like car boots at the weekend to make additional money. Which I know in America you guys don't have car boots or boot sales. Like they're basically garage sales, except for you
Oh,
go at the weekend, you go to a field,
okay.
everybody turns up in their car or van, and you set up a table.
It's we call that a flea market,
Okay, yeah, it is
but it's kind of the same thing.
yeah. So yeah, we used to do those growing up, and a lot of toys that I used to get as well came from there too. But yes, sometimes my mum would sneak toys that she didn't think I'd notice go missing out to obviously make some money,
So-
and occasionally I would realize, and I'd be able to sneak down to the garage and take the stuff out and hoard it back to my room. But I reckon that's where some of my like must keep everything comes from, of the fear that it could be just disappear at some point.
So Half Dork says he buys a lot of fleas at the market.
Yeah.
I'm sure you do. Also, uh, I totally thank you for remembering to mention the Care Bears thing because you asked me before the show and I 100% forgot. Um, we need to fix
It's
underwater so you can actually see. Like, it's weird to have that difference.
At least I didn't have to rebuy my own stuff. That is true. And I did find a like I was always giving a little bit of money to go around the car boot and find things. And many people here know that I love troll dolls. And one of the things that I clearly remember was there was a stall that was they had a lot. They had a lot of troll dolls, and like my mum came over with me and we were going through them, and the guy was like, "Oh, let me help you." He was like, "Do you have this one?" I was like, "Yes." He was like, "Do you want it?" And I was like, "Yes." I took all of them. Like we went through them all individually to start with, and we put some in the no pile, and then eventually I was like, no, I want those now. Like there's like 5 over there, and I've got 50 over here. We might as well just bring the other 5 to the yes pile at this point.
No troll left behind. No troll left behind.
It wasn't
if anybody's
all
seen
like
the movie.
yeah, I have. My daughter really loved trolls, but not the sort that I grew up with.
No, they're not quite so horrifying now.
They were cute. I love my troll dolls.
In that ugly newborn baby kind of way. Yeah, they're cute.
Okay. Yeah, I can't argue with that.
So yeah, what we do sometimes, not often, I think we've only done this once, but we probably need to do it again, is we can donate to charity because there's like drop off bins for like, toys and clothes and stuff. And our kids just they're the oldest grandchildren on both sets of grandparents. So they get everything. They get all the stuff. They're so spoiled. Like I'm not they're not mean necessarily, but like they get so much stuff.
No, there's a huge difference in my mind between being spoiled and being a spoiled brat. A spoiled brat is when they a little TWA stuff, and spoiled just means hey, you get a ton of stuff. My daughter's also spoiled by her grandparents because she is the oldest granddaughter.
So they have so much stuff. They don't play with half of it. It just ends up sitting like in the back of their closet for over a year, and then we do like some deep cleaning and they're like, oh, this thing, and I was like, you have not touched that since the day after your birthday last year. So instead of trying to like sneak the stuff away, because then inevitably they like ask about it later, they should pick things that they want to donate, have them make the choice. So it's like you need to fill up this bag, or you need to find 5 things to give away, And we have some friends with like a daughter that's younger than my youngest, so it's like she can get hand-me-downs, or we can give them away to charity. And it's like it just like you got too much stuff. We're not gonna keep on expanding your room. Like we're not gonna like move the walls out, and the amount of stuff in the middle is filling up too much. So you gotta some things gotta go if you want to get new things. We also were big on stop giving our kids toys for their birthdays, like
Yeah.
because like we can get them stuff that they ask for sometimes. Like we're fortunate to be in a situation where like if they want to ask for a specific doll or something, like we could potentially get it for them if it makes sense. Um, but don't just start grabbing them like those $10 play sets from Walmart that have like 50 food items and a bunch of plates. It's like they already have 3 of those. Stop it. Stop it. They've got more play food than we have real food in our kitchen. It's enough. They have enough ice cream. They have enough plastic burgers. They like stop. Just like and we've had this rule for like 2 years now, and there are people there are family members who still are just like, you know what, they would really do well with this breakfast set that has like waffles and pancakes and eggs, because they already have all those things, but like let's get them more in a slightly different scale. Like just drives us up the wall. Anyway, we're running way late here. I've got to go take my kids to see the Mario movie. I did see somebody asked about
that on Monday.
You're doing that on Monday?
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks really good. We're excited. I asked my wife if we should go see Woohoo, and my daughters were like, "Huh?" And she was like, "Yeah, we can." She wasn't sure she wanted to, and now she's seen enough of the trailers that she's convinced to go see it. And so then I look at the kids and I'm like, "Do you want to see the Mario movie?" And they go, "Yeah!" So.
I like how that was code. Do you want to go see?
Yeah. Woohoo! Well, it's because we were making fun of like I think most of the voice actors sound great, and I think I'm still gonna enjoy the movie, and I do like Chris Pratt. Is that who it is? I do like his acting.
I did not look at who voiced anything.
Oh, it was super controversial because he doesn't sound anything like Mario. Like I think I'll still enjoy the movie just fine. It's just like when I heard the way he said "Wahoo" in the trailer, I was like, "What?" It doesn't sound like Mario to me, but I've grew up with it, so it's
Bowser.
yes, yeah. Anyway, we're super excited. Halftork wants to make Smurfs and Trolls Have a War in character.
Honestly, I was gonna say
not Jackie Chan. Mom took older half brother's entire original Star Wars toy collection to a flea market. No. I know people who have lost their relationship with their parents over stuff like that. I was lucky, like my room is still basically intact the way I left it in high school, minus like what my younger brother, who also shared that room with me, whatever changes he made to it. I got all my old Legos back. Actually, I got all of his too. He can come visit and play with them anytime. I've added to the collection like 5 times over now. So, yeah, it's I don't know. I want to be like not too sentimental. They're just some toys that don't have the sentimental value for your kids. Like they just don't. But you also want to like, I don't know. There's nostalgia's not a bad thing. I'm a millennial. Petition to have Jack Black in every movie and TV show. Yes.
Honestly, yeah, he's just amazing. I don't know if he still continued his YouTube channel, but when he was posting regular on his YouTube channel, that is what I lived for a little while. Like, I couldn't wait until he uploaded another video just so I could watch him and just enjoy more.
I'm trying to find somebody did ask me to check out their game. We don't have time to do it today, but we can test it out on Wednesday. Paul Life Made Me has a game called Sea Glass. All right.
It's nice. My mum collects sea glass, and she made this for me. It's a little dusty. Oh wait, can people see it because it might
It's
be green screen?
oh, it might be. I don't.
Oh no,
see.
it looks
Yeah,
alright.
they just look kind of gray. It's
Yeah,
very cute.
yeah,
I like the googly eyes. All right,
yeah. It's a nice addition to
all
it.
right, Paul. We will check out that game Wednesday. And have a great weekend, everybody. Thank you, Panda, for hanging out.
Thank you for having me. And hi, chat. Thanks for not trolling, other than when we talked about trolls.
Trolls and Smurfs and all the other things that happen in games, you know. All right. Have a nice weekend. Do something fun. We'll see you next time. And we'll try to find a raid. Sometimes people aren't streaming. You got to be streaming. Got to be streaming the Sandbox about this time if you want to get raided. We'll look.
Right.